If you're over 50 and you've noticed that your wife doesn't climax as easily as she used to, or perhaps doesn't climax at all anymore, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. Neither is she. What's happening is a combination of biological changes in both of you that no one ever explains. Changes that, once you understand them, are completely addressable. But most men suffer in silence, blaming themselves, destroying their confidence, and watching their intimate relationships deteriorate because no one ever taught them the truth. Here's what I'm about to reveal. There are 4 specific changes that happen after 50, 2 in your body and 2 in hers, that make the sexual techniques that worked for decades suddenly stop working. And there's one change in particular, happening in your body right now, that's affecting her ability to climax in ways you never imagined. I'll reveal exactly what it is in just a few minutes, along with the simple adjustment that fixes it immediately. But here's what makes this so important. The inability to satisfy your partner sexually doesn't just affect the bedroom. It affects everything. Your confidence as a man. Your emotional connection. Your communication. Your sense of purpose in the relationship. I've seen marriages that were strong for 30 years crumble in their 50s and 60s, not because love disappeared, but because sexual satisfaction disappeared and no one knew how to talk about it or fix it. I'm Dr. Madison Li, board-certified urologist with over 12 years of experience helping couples navigate the sexual changes of aging. And today I'm revealing the 4 biological changes that are affecting your intimate life, why the techniques that worked at 35 don't work at 55, and most importantly, the new approach that allows couples in their 50s, 60s, and beyond to have the most satisfying sexual connection of their entire relationship. Stay until the end because I'm revealing the complete protocol for satisfying intimacy after 50. This isn't about working harder or lasting longer. It's about working smarter, understanding the new reality of your bodies, and adapting your approach to create even deeper satisfaction than you had when you were younger. But first, let me tell you about David and Sarah. Because their story is your story. David was 56 and Sarah was 54 when they came to see me. Well, David came to see me initially for erectile dysfunction. But when I dug deeper, the real problem wasn't his erections. It was that Sarah hadn't experienced orgasm in over 2 years. And this was destroying both of them. David felt like a failure. He said, "For 30 years, I knew how to satisfy my wife. It worked every time. Now, nothing I do works. I've tried everything." She says it's fine, that she still enjoys intimacy, but I know she's not climaxing. And it's killing me. I feel like I've lost my ability to be a man for her. Sarah, when I spoke with her separately, was equally distressed but for different reasons. She said, "I still love my husband. I still want to be intimate. But my body doesn't respond the way it used to. It takes so much longer, and sometimes I just can't get there no matter what we do." I see how frustrated David is, and that makes me feel broken. So I've started avoiding intimacy altogether because I can't handle disappointing him. This pattern, David feeling inadequate, Sarah feeling broken, both avoiding the conversation, both avoiding intimacy, is epidemic among couples over 50. And it's completely unnecessary. Because, once I explained the 4 biological changes that were happening and taught them the new approach, everything changed. 3 months later, they came back. Different people. Sarah was climaxing regularly again. David's confidence was restored. Their emotional connection was deeper than it had been in years. Sarah said something profound: "The sex we're having now, in our mid-50s, is actually better than it was in our 30s. Because we understand each other's bodies better. We communicate more. We're not just trying to perform. We're connecting." That's what's possible when you understand the changes and adapt. Now let me reveal what's actually happening. The first change is happening in your body. After 50, erectile quality and stamina decline. Your erections are less firm than they were at 40. They take longer to achieve. They're less reliable. And, crucially, you may finish more quickly than you used to, or conversely, take much longer to attain climax. Both these changes directly affect her ability to climax. Why this happens? Testosterone decline reduces libido, erectile firmness, and stamina. Vascular changes reduce blood flow to the penis, affecting erection quality. Neurological changes affect sensation and ejaculatory control. Prostate enlargement can affect ejaculatory function. How this affects her climax: if your erections are less firm, penetration may be less satisfying for her. The firmness creates pressure and friction that contributes to her arousal. If you finish too quickly, she doesn't have enough time to build to climax. Most women over 50 need 15 to 25 minutes of sustained stimulation to climax. If you're finishing in 5 to 10 minutes, she's left unsatisfied. If you take too long to climax, or can't finish at all, the prolonged activity becomes uncomfortable for her. She dries out, becomes sore, and loses arousal. She can't climax if she's in discomfort. The old approach that doesn't work. The old approach was penetrative sex until you both climax. This worked when you were younger because your erections were firm, your stamina was predictable, and her arousal was quicker. After 50, this approach fails most couples because the timing and physical function don't align anymore. The new approach: separate your climax from hers. This is the fundamental mindset shift. You are not responsible for making her climax through penetration. You are responsible for her overall satisfaction, which may or may not include penetration at all. Focus on her climax first, before penetration. Use oral sex, manual stimulation, or toys to bring her to climax while you're fully aroused but haven't started intercourse. This removes all time pressure. She gets the stimulation she needs for as long as she needs it. Once she's satisfied, then penetration can happen, and your climax timing doesn't matter anymore. David was stuck in the old approach. He thought his job was to make Sarah climax through intercourse. But his erectile quality had declined, and he was finishing too quickly. The new approach, focusing on her satisfaction first through oral and manual stimulation, removed all pressure. Sarah climaxed regularly. David felt successful again. Everyone won. Now, change number 2. This is happening in her body. The second change is happening in her body. After 50, especially perimenopause and menopause, hormonal shifts create dramatic changes in her sexual response. These changes make the techniques that used to work completely ineffective. The specific changes: estrogen decline causes vaginal tissue thinning, reduced natural lubrication, decreased blood flow to genitals, and loss of tissue elasticity. These changes make penetration less comfortable, sometimes painful. Pain kills arousal. Arousal is required for orgasm. No arousal, no orgasm. Testosterone decline in women reduces libido, decreases genital sensitivity, and slows arousal response. Many people don't realize women produce testosterone too, and it's critical for sexual function. Increased cortisol from life stress in the 50s, caring for aging parents, dealing with grown children, career pressures, all elevate stress hormones which directly suppress sexual response. How this affects her climax: she needs more time to become aroused. What used to take 5 minutes might now take 15 to 20 minutes. She needs more direct, sustained clitoral stimulation. Penetration alone, which might have worked before, is now insufficient. She may need lubrication even when aroused. Natural lubrication is reduced, so even full arousal doesn't produce enough moisture. She may experience discomfort during penetration even when aroused. Thin vaginal tissue is more sensitive to friction. The old approach that doesn't work. The old approach assumed she'd be ready quickly, that penetration would feel good immediately, that orgasm would happen easily during intercourse. After 50, these assumptions are false for most women. The new approach, extended foreplay, is non-negotiable. 15 to 20 minutes minimum of kissing, touching, oral sex, manual stimulation. This allows her arousal to build fully. Use high-quality lubricant generously. Water-based or silicone-based lubricants make penetration comfortable. There's no shame in using lube. It's essential after 50. Focus primarily on clitoral stimulation. About 75% of women require direct clitoral stimulation to climax. Penetration alone doesn't provide this. Use oral sex, fingers, or vibrators on her clitoris while also engaging in penetration if desired. Communication is critical. She needs to tell you what feels good, what doesn't, what she needs more of. You need to ask and listen without ego. Consider medical interventions. Vaginal estrogen cream or suppositories can dramatically improve tissue health, increase lubrication, and reduce discomfort. This is not systemic hormone replacement. It's local treatment with minimal absorption. Many women benefit enormously. Testosterone therapy for women, when appropriate, can restore libido and genital sensitivity. This is still somewhat controversial, but evidence is building. DHEA supplementation may support sexual function in some women. Sarah's changes were dramatic. Thin vaginal tissue, reduced lubrication, much slower arousal. David didn't understand this. He was doing what always worked, but it wasn't working anymore because her body had changed. Once they implemented extended foreplay, generous lubrication, and focused clitoral stimulation, her orgasms returned. Now, change number 3. Now, change number 3. This is happening in your body, and it's the one most men never consider. The third change is psychological. After 50, many men experience profound loss of sexual confidence. Your body has changed. Things don't work like they used to. You're anxious about performance. And this anxiety creates a vicious cycle that directly prevents her from climaxing. Why this happens? Erectile dysfunction or decreased erectile quality makes you feel inadequate. You're constantly monitoring your erection during sex. Is it hard enough? Is it staying hard? Oh no, it's softening. What do I do? This mental monitoring keeps you in your head instead of present with your partner. Fear of not satisfying her becomes self-fulfilling. You're so worried about her climax that you can't relax and connect. Your anxiety transmits to her. She feels your tension. This disrupts her arousal. Comparison to your younger self creates shame. You remember how you used to be, and you feel diminished by who you are now. How this affects her climax: when you're anxious and in your head, you're not present. You're not reading her body's signals. You're not responding to her feedback. You're just trying to perform a mechanical action. Women need emotional connection and presence for climax. If you're disconnected, she can't connect. If she can't connect, she can't climax. Your anxiety makes her self-conscious. She starts worrying about your feelings instead of focusing on her pleasure. Is he upset? Is he frustrated? Am I taking too long? These thoughts kill her arousal. The old approach that doesn't work. The old approach was confident, assertive sexuality. You knew what you were doing. You didn't doubt yourself. This confidence was attractive and helped her relax into pleasure. After 50, when that confidence is gone, trying to fake it doesn't work. She senses the insecurity underneath. The new approach: radical honesty and vulnerability. Talk openly about the changes you're experiencing. Your fears, your insecurities, your frustrations. This vulnerability creates intimacy. Intimacy enhances sexuality. Redefine sexual success. Success is not your erection quality or her climax. Success is connection, pleasure, and mutual satisfaction. When you genuinely internalize this, the pressure evaporates. Practice mindful presence. During sexual activity, get out of your head and into your body. Focus on sensation. The feeling of her skin. The sound of her breathing. The taste of her lips. When you're present, she feels it. She can relax. Relaxation is required for her climax. Let go of the performance mindset. You're not performing. You're connecting. This shift is profound. Performance creates anxiety. Connection creates pleasure. The practical technique, before intimate activity, take 60 seconds together. Sit facing each other. Make eye contact. Breathe together. Say something vulnerable. I want to connect with you. I want to give you pleasure. I'm nervous about my body not working perfectly, but I'm committed to being present with you. This creates safety. Safety allows vulnerability. Vulnerability creates intimacy. Intimacy enhances pleasure. David's loss of confidence was poisoning his intimacy with Sarah. He was so anxious about performing that he couldn't be present. Once he learned to be vulnerable, to admit his fears, to focus on connection instead of performance, everything shifted. Sarah said, "The vulnerability made me feel closer to him than I have in years." That emotional closeness made the physical intimacy so much better. Now, change number 4. This is happening in her mind, and it's the most overlooked factor. The fourth change is psychological, happening in her mind. After 50, women often carry enormous psychological burdens that directly interfere with sexual arousal and orgasm. These barriers have nothing to do with attraction to you, and everything to do with the complexity of life at this stage. The specific barriers: body image issues. Her body has changed. Weight gain, skin changes, breast changes. She may feel unattractive even though you still desire her. This self-consciousness prevents her from relaxing into pleasure. Life stress overload. Caring for aging parents, dealing with adult children, career pressures, financial concerns, health worries. Her mind is full of responsibilities and worries. Sexual arousal requires mental space. If her mind is cluttered with stress, she can't create that space. Loss of sexual identity. Society often tells women over 50 that they're no longer sexual beings. They internalize this message. They stop seeing themselves as desirable. This becomes self-fulfilling. Resentment and relationship issues. Unresolved conflicts, feeling taken for granted, lack of emotional intimacy outside the bedroom. These create barriers that prevent sexual connection. How this affects her climax: orgasm requires mental surrender. She has to let go of control, let go of thoughts, and fully immerse in physical sensation. If her mind is cluttered with worries, self-consciousness, or resentment, she cannot surrender. She cannot climax. The old approach that doesn't work. The old approach ignored these psychological factors. You focused on physical technique, assuming that if you did the right things physically, she'd climax. After 50, this assumption fails for most women. The psychological barriers are often stronger than the physical stimulation. The new approach: address the psychological barriers directly. Have conversations outside the bedroom about her stress, her concerns, her feelings about her body, her feelings about the relationship. Create emotional intimacy that extends beyond sex. Help reduce her life stress. Take on more household responsibilities. Support her with aging parent issues. Give her time and space for self-care. This isn't foreplay. It's creating the psychological foundation that makes intimacy possible. Affirm her desirability consistently. Tell her specifically what you find attractive about her now. Not compared to when she was younger. About who she is now. I love your confidence. I love your wisdom. I love the way your body feels. I love your laughter lines. I find you incredibly sexy exactly as you are. This counteracts the societal messages telling her she's not desirable. Create safety and non-judgment. Let her know that her pleasure is the priority. That there's no time pressure. That it's okay if she doesn't climax. That you're just happy to connect with her. This removes performance pressure from her. Paradoxically, when the pressure is gone, climax becomes easier. The practical technique: weekly non-sexual intimacy time. 30 minutes where you connect emotionally. Talk about your lives, your dreams, your concerns. Touch affectionately but non-sexually. This builds the foundation of emotional safety that allows sexual vulnerability. Sarah carried enormous stress. Caring for her mother with dementia. Worried about their finances. Feeling unattractive because of weight gain. All of this was creating psychological barriers that made climax impossible. When David started helping more with her mother, affirming her beauty consistently, and creating emotional intimacy outside the bedroom, the barriers dissolved. Sarah said, "I finally felt safe enough to let go. That's when my body could respond again." Now, let me give you the complete protocol for satisfying intimacy after 50. Here's the complete approach that allows couples over 50 to have deeply satisfying intimate lives. Step 1. Communication before intimacy. Before you engage in sexual activity, have a brief conversation. What does she need tonight? How much time does she have? Is she stressed about anything? What sounds good to her? This creates shared expectations and removes assumptions that lead to disappointment. Step 2. Extended, non-goal-oriented foreplay. 15 to 20 minutes minimum of kissing, touching, caressing, oral sex. No agenda. No goal. Just pleasure and connection. This allows her arousal to build fully and addresses both the physical changes in her body and the psychological need for presence. Step 3. Prioritize her climax first. Use whatever technique works for her. Oral sex, manual stimulation, vibrator. Focus exclusively on her pleasure until she climaxes. Once she's satisfied, the pressure is off. Then penetration can happen if desired, and your climax timing doesn't matter. Step 4. Use tools without shame. High-quality lubricant is essential. Vibrators are helpful for many women over 50 because direct, consistent stimulation compensates for reduced sensitivity. There's no shame in using tools. Whatever works, works. Step 5. Redefine success. A successful intimate encounter is one where you both feel connected, where pleasure was experienced, where emotional intimacy was deepened. Her climax is wonderful, but it's not the only measure of success. This mindset shift removes pressure from both of you. Step 6. Medical interventions when needed. If erectile dysfunction is severe, use medications. If her vaginal health is poor, use estrogen therapy. If hormonal issues are significant, consider hormone replacement. Don't suffer unnecessarily when medical solutions exist. Step 7. Ongoing communication. After intimate encounters, talk briefly about what worked, what didn't, what you'd like to try differently next time. This continuous feedback loop ensures you're adapting to each other's changing needs. The 90-day transformation. Implement this complete approach consistently for 90 days. Most couples report dramatic improvements. Increased frequency of her climaxes. Deeper emotional connection. Better communication. Reduced anxiety for both partners. More satisfying sex than they had in their 40s. Here's what I need you to understand. The changes happening after 50 are not the end of satisfying sexuality. They're an opportunity to create something deeper, more connected, more satisfying than what you had when you were younger. Young sexuality is often performance-focused, ego-driven, and disconnected. Mature sexuality, when approached correctly, is connection-focused, vulnerable, and deeply intimate. Many couples tell me the sex they're having in their 60s is the best of their lives because they've learned to truly connect. But this only happens if you're willing to adapt. To let go of old approaches that no longer work. To embrace new techniques. To communicate vulnerably. To prioritize emotional intimacy. To use medical interventions when needed. My challenge: have the conversation with your partner this week. Share what you learned in this video. Ask her what she needs. Commit together to implementing the new approach for 90 days. If this video gave you hope and a path forward, hit that like button. Subscribe for relationship and sexual health content. Turn on notifications. Comment below. What change resonated most? What will you implement first? Share this with men over 50 who are struggling silently. I'm Dr. Madison Li. The inability to satisfy your partner after 50 is not permanent. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a biological reality that can be addressed with knowledge, communication, and the right approach. Your most satisfying intimate years can still be ahead of you. But only if you're willing to evolve. See you in the next video.